Hello and good morning everyone, and welcome to today's live Zoo to You. My name is Katie and I'm an educator here at Stone Zoo, and today we are so excited to be coming to you live from our sloth exhibit where we are celebrating the sleepiest birthday boy, Nero. Nero turns 15 on Friday, the 18th. And we celebrate all week long here at Stone Zoo, so we thought we would do a little birthday celebration for him. Now, throughout our chat today, we're going to have some trivia questions. So throughout the chat, feel free to put your guesses into the comments section, and we'll go over all of the answers at the very end. And if you have any additional questions, please feel free to ask them, and I will do my best to answer them at the end. Now today we're going to be feeding Nero some of his sloth-approved birthday cake. It has all sorts of goodies from their diet that they get every day in here, and some special browse like Rose of Sharon flowers. So we're going to be feeding him. Now we do have two sloths in here. We also have Lunesta, who is our female, and she is 16 years old. So first, let's talk about what's in their sloth birthday cake. So these, like I mentioned, are some of the goodies from their diet. In here we have some collard greens, we have some sweet potato, apple, hard-boiled egg, and then we also have, if I can grab one, these biscuits. This is a leaf eater biscuit. It's kind of like a sloth multivitamin. It has all sorts of vitamins and nutrients in it, so it helps keep them nice and healthy. And I'm going to be feeding Nero and Lunesta with these tongs here. Sloths do not have the best eyesight, and my fingers look a lot like slices of sweet potato or carrot, so the tongs just keep my fingers nice and safe. All right, we'll see if anyone is hungry for birthday breakfast today. We'll see. Part of working with live animals is that you cannot make them do anything they don't want to do. So we'll see if they will like to wake up for some treats from us. Now this brings us to our first trivia question of the day. And I want to know if anyone out there has any guesses which of these food items is Nero's favorite. He does have food preferences, just like we have food preferences. And one of these is his absolute favorite to eat. Oh, it looks like our birthday boy is waking up for some sweet potato right now. And you can get a look at those nice, sharp teeth that he has. So sloths have what's called premolars. So all of their teeth in their mouth are molars, and those premolars are really nice and sharp. So we celebrate Nero's birthday all week long because all of his birthdays with us here at Stone Zoo are really special. And that is because of Nero's medical history. So let's talk about first his and Lunesta's history here at Stone Zoo. So Nero was actually brought to us from the Tulsa Zoo in Oklahoma, and Lunesta came from the Montreal Biodome, and she's waking up for some apple right now. And they were paired together through something called an SSP, which is short for a species survival plan. And the whole point of a species survival plan is to have animals in zoos that have really diverse genetics, and that way we have a lot of genetic diversity in the gene pool, and it helps to prevent things like inbreeding. So they were paired together, and when Nero had been here for around a year, he was just shy of 2 years old, our zookeepers noticed some abnormal behavior with him. He was really lethargic, even for a sloth. And that actually brings us to our second trivia question. Does anyone watching know how long sloths typically sleep each day? So he was really lethargic, and our zookeepers noticed that really wasn't normal for him. So they got a weight on him, and they noticed that he lost around 1/3 of his body weight really rapidly. So that was cause for concern, and luckily we have an amazing team of veterinarians here at Zoo New England that work on all animals from the frogs to the gorillas to the sloths. And our veterinarians did some blood work on Nero and noticed that he had some abnormalities with his white blood cells. And he was actually diagnosed with leukemia. So he went through chemotherapy here at Stone Zoo, and his chemotherapy was 2 pills that he got every day, and those pills were tucked right into a hard-boiled egg, so he didn't even notice that they were in there. And within 6 months, our zookeepers and our team of awesome veterinarians noticed some improvements. He was gaining weight again, he wasn't as lethargic, and within a year of his chemotherapy treatments, he was declared to be in remission, and that was around 12 years ago. So he has been in remission for 12 years. And that's really cool. It shows you the awesome veterinary care that animals in zoos like Zoo New England receive. And you know, if he was in the wild, he likely wouldn't have survived that. So it's really amazing, and that's why all of our birthdays with Nero are extra special. See if they're hungry for anything else. Give them some apple. You can get a good look at their really wet noses, just like a dog's nose. That helps them pick up extra scents, helps all the scent particles stick to their nose. Now, Nero, we're hoping, is going to have a really long life with us here at Stone Zoo, and that brings us to our 3rd trivia question, which is, how long is the average lifespan for a sloth? We'll see if we have any guesses for that. Now, Nero and Lunesta have gone on to have 4 offspring together. So their species survival plan has been really successful. Ooh, almost. Nice job, Lunesta. Oh, you can see that sloth tongue coming out to help get that apple in her mouth. So their species survival plan has been super successful. Some of their offspring are living at Franklin Park Zoo. So if you've ever been to the Tropical Forest building, you've probably seen Maxine in there. That is one of their daughters. And this actually brings us to our 4th trivia question, which is our last question of the day. Oops, sorry about that, Jen. Which is, does anyone watching know the name of their last born baby who still lives here at Stone Zoo? And she was born June 2019. So we'll see if anyone has any guesses. And while you're typing in your guesses for that last question, we will go over our other trivia questions. So our first question we asked was, do we have any guesses what Nero's favorite food is out of his diet? And his favorite, I don't know if you've noticed while I was feeding him, and I gave you a little hint when I was, he's still eating, when I was talking about his chemotherapy, but his favorite is hard-boiled egg. Our sloths do get hard-boiled egg because it's an excellent source of protein, and sloths out in their natural habitat will be eating eggs as well, just for that source of protein. Obviously, they wouldn't be hard-boiled. Our second trivia question, we are asking how many hours a day do sloths typically sleep? And the answer to that is 16 to 18 hours a day. So they do spend the majority of their time sleeping, and they are mostly nocturnal. So you have the best chance of seeing sloths awake and moving at nighttime, but they do wake up, especially when we have food and treats with us. So they do wake up for us. Our third trivia question, we asked, how long is the average lifespan for a sloth? And this varies depending on whether or not this is a sloth in human care at a zoo or in their natural habitat. In their natural habitat, sloths live up to around 20 years old. They have a lot of predators, including jaguars, ocelots, harpy eagles, and humans. They also are vulnerable to diseases and things like that. In human care at zoos, sloths can live 30 plus years. There are some documented cases of sloths in their 40s right now, which is really amazing. And that's because they get nutrition custom made for them, so they have really nutritious diets, and they also receive really excellent veterinary care. And the answer to our last trivia question was asking, what is the name of their latest baby? And if anyone guessed Siesta, you are correct. Siesta was born here, I believe June 27th, 2 days before Lunesta's birthday in 2019. And she has since moved out of this exhibit. It's time for her to move on and be on her own. Sloths are typically solitary. So she actually lives a couple exhibits down with our cotton-top tamarins and red-rumped agoutis. Oh, it looks like Nero might be on the move. Give him some hard-boiled egg. Ooh. I'll have to catch that piece. And some apple. All right, and do we have any other questions about the sloths that I can answer?
Yeah, can you remind us how old Nero is?
Nero is turning 15 this Friday, September 18th. So he is just shy of his 15th birthday.
Awesome. We also had a question wondering if Nero was related to the extinct Paramyelodon ground sloth.
Oh my goodness. I do not think I am qualified to answer that. I would say that's probably like a distant ancestor of theirs, but that's a tricky one. I'll have to do some research on that.
All right, and one last question. Someone was wondering if Nero and Lunesta usually sleep next to each other or if they like to separate.
That's a really good question. So like I also mentioned, sloths are typically solitary. Nero and Lunesta just get along really well, which is why we are able to house them in the same exhibit. I would say around 75% of the time, they are sleeping next to each other. This spot is kind of the coveted spot. These branches are like a basket, so they don't have to use a lot of energy to support themselves up in the branches. Their daily diet is also usually hung right here. Their bucket has a lip on it, so it can hang right here, so they're close to the food. They have a really comfy spot, so they usually both like to curl up right here. Occasionally you can see them kind of on separate ends of their exhibit, but this is kind of how they're typically hanging out. Any other questions?
One final question. We had someone wondering if these kinds of sloths swim.
That's a great question. So sloths actually are really incredible swimmers. In their natural habitat, if there is a predator nearby and they're up in their trees and there's any bodies of water under them, they're actually just going to drop right out of the trees into the water and swim away. They don't have muscles for walking. They can't walk, they can't support themselves on the ground, they have to drag their limbs. So in the water, they're kind of weightless, so it's really easy for them to move. So that was a really good question. All right, well, I think we're just about out of time. Thank you all so much for joining us for this really special sleepy birthday. Please come and visit us here at Stone Zoo and be sure to wish Nero a happy birthday this week. Bye, thanks for tuning in.